somebody was telling me the other day that that they haven't seen you this happy in a while.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's true. I haven't been.
Really?
Very, very happy nowadays. Things are great. Well, I mean, things are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For as best it can be in
Yeah,
this
for
industry.
as best as it can be right now, things are. You know what? I'm just gonna say we just I don't know, just atmosphere and everything now is just like, my mind frame just going, just trying to do this and remember why. I think the thing it is that I'm really realizing now why I started to do this when I was a kid. Why I decided to pick up my guitar and play, and over the past several years, like sort of slowly forgot that reason. And
Really?
like in a weird way, in a way of like I don't know. It's just the last band, like it seems like we
You can move it.
yeah,
It's okay.
cool. All right. I don't want to make any weird noises.
No. Don't worry about that. I mean, it's the AP podcast. We're all about informality.
Good. I like that.
Burping, anything you want. We don't care.
Nice. Yeah. So like, I mean, it was great. It's just we started when we were so young. Like I got signed when I was like 19, and we started making money, and then we stopped making money even quicker, and everybody was just like, it's like things were really tense for a while, and now when that ended, it sort of gave me a chance to sit back and be like, okay, I got to start from the beginning and sort of relearn why I started,
Oh.
And it's like now that I'm hanging on to that, hanging on to that reason a little bit more.
You think it's more? Think it's easier now to make money?
If there's an easier way, please tell me about it. Please show me where I can do this.
Well, I would just think that with all the kind of entrepreneurial aspects of being a musician now, with everything kind of collapsing, like the framework collapsing, that it would make it easier for a band now to kind of make the money directly instead of kind of going through 5 middle people that take their cut.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
I definitely haven't found it any easier yet, but it's I think in my situation though it's a little different just because we're in such a mid, like in between ground where nobody really knows what's going on, except for we're just going for it.
So are you on a label now?
On drive through. I'm on drive through still. We're we're in between, figuring out what the contract's going to be and everything, but we're still negotiating.
Because you had your own label too, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's why I was wondering.
Had that, and it was just unfortunate the timing of everything. With the music business, started that as everything started to go down, and it's just like, I still want to keep that alive, but gotta wait until we sort of figure out, or everybody sort of comes to grips with how the music business is going to start moving forward, And
if you could do like a perfect world scenario, considering the way everything's going, like if you could be, the hand of God and steer the industry just a little bit, but realizing you can't take it back to the way it was, where would you kind of steer it so there'd be pro musician, like individual musician or individual band,
Man,
is that too early for that kind of question?
We might need to work into that.
Okay, well, let's talk about your childhood then.
No,
did you like your grandma?
Yeah, I loved her. Her.
Well,
and she would say, and I would say, if if I could say anything that I would change, that I would put in any type of direction, I would want to give like more power back to basically like artists, like making it more like an art thing, not so much of a performance type thing. It's like the way. I mean, I know that really doesn't make sense, but like
more or less of a business thing.
Yeah,
kinda?
like less of a business, but like I mean, when you watch the like the Grammy Awards, I know this is something that for some reason sits on me and like I get real fired up about. But like when there's like Best New Artist like awards and like people go up and claim the award, and it's like I want to thank everybody who wrote all the songs on this and everything. Like the industry to me is like, it used to be like people used to be much more passionate about the art of it, and it's like I feel that has sort of, I don't know.
But there's still hope because people are still all about Radiohead and they're all about
yeah.
like Muse,
right?
Things like that. U2 and those bands are still.
There's definitely
they're not seen as pop
still
acts.
a lot of hope. Yeah. There just needs to be more younger bands and more bands following that, that those footsteps.
So when you say there needs to be more younger bands, do you think that mean, because usually what I hear is there's too many bands.
Yes.
There's too many opportunities.
I'll say that too. Nowadays, there's way too many opportunities.
There's too much democracy, more or less.
Yeah. I mean,
so it needs to be more communism in the music industry.
No, I mean, at the same time, I can't criticize that at all because, I guess I came in at a time when, the whole like emo thing was like big and all those emo bands were getting signed. So I mean, like if I were to say that, I'd sort of be hypocritical of myself, but I don't know.
So where do you think it goes wrong? I mean, as much as like, because you kind of said in the AP op-ed that you wrote about there's all these bands and it's too easy.
Yeah, it's nowadays it does seem like it is
Pro Tools to fix that. You got this to fix that.
Right.
You got.
I remember what I thought was awesome when I first started doing records. Like I wanted to do everything tape. I wanted to have no computers involved and be like, yeah. And now like. You talk to younger bands and it's like, yeah, we went in the studio and like we barely even had to play. Like they were able to like put everything in like, perfectly. It's like, it is much more easy to make like a perfect sounding record without even having to, I don't know, without even having to, seriously, you could spend half the time on it and put half the effort into it and make it, it's like, I guess that's the sound of today though, what things sound like now. This whole thing, like, I get real fired up about.
Well, go ahead and get fired up. We have lots of water.
Like I said, it's a little early yet. I'm gonna, I'm just gonna.
Well, in the second half, he's gonna get really pissed off.
Yeah, then I'll start to get. This is gonna be a progressive, step into the.
I'll just keep poking at you with it, and then as we go along. Now you're 26 or 27 now.
26.
26. So it's kind of weird because it's like, do you kind of already feel? And you've been doing this, what, 17, since 17, 18?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Playing music before then.
Yeah,
I mean, just playing
music. We, I guess the early November started when I was 17, so. Okay,
but prior to that, though, you were teaching, you were still doing stuff.
Yeah,
you were still
in bands, trying to take it serious.
So when did you would you say you really, what was it, like, if, the redundant, the writer calls you up and says, okay, we got to update your bio. When did you first pick up a guitar?
I first picked up a guitar, man, I guess I was 14 years old when I started playing, which was kind of late, but I mean...
so it's 12 years since you first picked up a guitar.
Maybe I was 13, I can't remember, but one of those times.
Okay, so 12 or 11 years or 13 years, somewhere in that period, you've picked up a guitar. So, do you feel old already?
I feel old, yeah, and especially on this tour, I feel old because I'm the oldest person on the tour, which is really weird.
You've got to put that microphone back up against you. Just move it. Just move it. It swirls. Look.
I apologize. There it is. There it is. Much better.
And you're the singer. Oh, jeez. Okay, it's all right. No, it's all good. It's early.
I always got yelled at when the band started our first tours and whatnot. Like, all the sound guys would always scream at me for not being close enough to the mic. I feel like I'm right back there right now.
You're calling in it from the bus. That's great. No, but you need a headset. That's what it's telling you. You just need a headset. Just do the whole thing with the little...
that would be...
Like they use on the
Could
on
you
the Cirque du Soleil
imagine
shows.
that? Oh my God, that would be beautiful.
You hear everything?
I would want to get one of the pilot headsets with the two big
Oh, you really want to go out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I figure, if I'm going to go that far, I might as well.
What the hell were we talking about? Oh, yes. Yeah, we were talking about... about being old and on the tour, that you feel you're the oldest guy on the tour.
I am the oldest man on this tour. And, every single, I love all the bands. They're all so nice, but, they all, have come up to me once or twice and said, oh, man, when I was in middle school, I used to listen to you and all my friends. I'm like, oh, man.
Your wife looks at you and goes, why are you looking more gray than you did yesterday?
Oh, man.
Kenny Vasoli was in here the other day doing one of these interviews too, and he's great. We were talking about how even for the starting line and for yourself, you're early November and yourself was another one of those bands where it's like already you guys are at that stage where you are being called influential.
That's crazy, yeah.
Does it make you kind of feel a little like it's like, God, is it over already? Was that it?
That's such a good way to put it right there. Yeah, no, it really does.
I'm not trying to sink you into depression, but
right, it does sometimes. When people come up to me and be like, yeah, you're such an influence. I grew up listening to you. I'm like where did it go? It is definitely one of those things, and you get that feeling sometimes, but you know, I still know I got a lot of fight in me. I'm going for it, but this is yeah, it definitely makes you feel like that sometimes. Like, where did all the time go? And what they say, you get your one chance at it, and it's like, is it over? Is the chance over? I don't know. But
Do you ever get those conversations with fans that come up to you, or maybe fellow musicians that have come up to you, and they're like, wow, when you did that on this record or that song, it caused me to think this way and do this with my life and things like that. And, now I'm writing this kind of music. And does it kind of force you to sit there and go, oh my God, I don't want to be that guy. I got to do something completely different now. I got to go do thrash metal. You know what I mean?
There's ever a time when I was like, I got to go do thrash metal. Man, that would be awesome. I would love to do that.
It's a side project.
Yeah, for real. Jeez.
Go join Sounds of Animals Fighting or something like that, or whatever. It could be the Canary or something.
Oh, that would be great. That would be beautiful.
Well,
no, I mean, I think when people say that, or I've never I'm always like, I always feel like it means that I'm doing something right. Like I'm doing. I would never really want to change. I don't think, just because, I don't know. I feel like this is pretty much all I'm good at, with it. So it's like, I never really feel like when somebody says stuff like that, like I have to do something different, or I don't want to be that. But yeah, I don't know. You're making me think differently though.
The thrash metal record's next.
Yeah, I can't get my mind off of the thrash metal right now.
Bring it up to drive through. I'm sure that contract will be renegotiated real fast. It was like when Donna Summer decided to do a country record and the label went, no. So when, if not, and I don't want to make the whole conversation about early November, but if, as younger bands come up to you and say, you guys really influenced me and things like that. And now that you're kind of, with every month that goes by since you guys put everything on hiatus, I guess is that kind of what it was, kind of like, it's on hiatus? Is it like, how would you describe what early November is? This is kind of,
I'd say,
hear it out of your mouth.
We're, I mean, we, it's definitely stopped. It's definitely like, everybody's moved on, and like, we're all really good friends, and we just have realized like, we're much better at being friends,
Okay.
And it's like, we might just, hang out once in a while, but like probably won't, end up doing anything like another tour or anything like that. I could see maybe like a show here or there, just to like, for like, just for fun or something,
right.
around home. But
which is a really free way to kind of do it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just freeing. It's like,
Yeah.
no, there's no responsibility. There's no obligation, I guess, the way to say it.
And it actually feels really good like that, because, at the end it was like, we all really care about each other a lot, but it got really bitter, and it's like, it's good to have that, like, we're all really, friends now. We all like call each other, or talk once in a while. And it's just like, it's just a good feeling to know that, like, it's not going to be ever serious like it was. We might hang out once in a while. We might, like, have a good time, whatever. We might, do like a surprise show like around home once, ever. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but
Sure.
like, it's like just knowing that like it's nothing serious, and it's just like, we can be friends rather than, whatever it became. It's like, it's a great feeling. So.
But it was interesting because I was talking with Sean from Cute Is What We Aim For earlier, and and for him, they got to that precipice where they almost ended it.
Yeah.
And then they kind of brought in Dave, and it kind of resuscitated itself with a whole new creative aspect to it. And I usually find with band member friends of mine that are in bands that are not at your level, and where they're professional. You guys
Right.
put down on the passport, professional musician.
Right.
Where they're in a group with a bunch of other guys and gals, and they don't feel like it's working, but they don't know if they should give up.
Right.
And so, like, for you guys, you got to that point where you guys decided, you know what, we need to have a real serious, honest conversation.
Yeah.
But how did you know you were at that point versus kind of like where it was, where it's just like his gut was telling him, no, it's not that point yet, where we
Right.
just gotta take some space away from each other.
I think, for us, like, we knew we were at that point just because however, but like, I mean, there was people like every day, like, we're quitting, we're going home.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it's just like, for us, it got like very extreme and very, very bitter, very bitter. It was like everybody was, very bitter. And it wasn't, I can't blame it on everybody because like, it was a really confusing time. Like, I mean, like, I think the thing that most of our fans don't understand is like where the early November was like, we had come off of like a high point, like after we released our second to last record. It was
Uh-huh.
like,
Right.
like we were doing like very well. And then, all of a sudden it was like a switch flipped and, things just started to fall apart. Like things just started to fall through. And it's like, we, I guess, as things fell apart, like we sort of fell apart together,
Okay.
as a group, as weird as that may sound. But like when we put our last record out, like we were at like a high. We were like, oh, this is gonna be just as good. I mean, we sold like the first week. I remember the first week of our release, if I can be totally honest. Like
Yeah.
the first week, like we sold a good amount of records. We were on the top, like we were number 31 on Billboard 200.
Wow.
It's like we were really psyched, like because we did like more. It, this is gonna sound weird, but it was at the time it was the biggest drive-through debut release, and then a few weeks later, like Hello Goodbye came out, and that was just like a monster. It was just like shattered everything, and it was like, for us, it was like we slowly watched like people like lose faith or, like just places like, um,
The booking offers came in less.
yeah,
and
like things just started to happen slower and slower, and it was just like, it went from such a drastic like high point, like such a,
Right.
we're on cloud nine to like, we don't know what we're doing so quickly, and like I guess the shock of what everybody expected and what everybody wanted, like we just weren't on the same page anymore.
Because that
It
was
was
the
like,
triple
yeah,
triple record. Yeah.
it was just crazy. That whole thing was really intense. We went in to do that record and like we were like a week before we went in to do the record, Jeff had quit the band. He wasn't even going to play on the record. And then like when we went in to record, he called me. He's like, you know what, I want to be in the band again. And we were like, okay, let's do this. And it's just like we had like an up and down roller coaster.
Oh, that's right.
through
Yeah, because he did come back again, right?
yeah, yeah. So we had like an up and down thing through the whole thing. So it was just like it was just crazy. We knew that it was time that we were just all sort of going in different places, heading in different directions. We all wanted different things out of it.
In every organization, every band, every group of people, whatever, there's the rah-rah person. There's the, leaders and followers, that whole kind of thing. And there's the one person that's shit hits the fan and they're like, yeah, but it ain't that smelly. The optimistic one, like
right.
the one that everybody kind of looks to and goes, okay, when they start freaking, then I know it's really bad.
Right.
So was that you in the band? Like the more kind of like the
Yeah, I mean,
the spine, and then
you could say that, that I was definitely that I guess when they saw me get nervous and me sort of get discouraged with some of the decisions we were making as a unit, that then they were like, okay, now we can tell, and
right.
then everybody just started doing their different things, and at that point, I guess everybody was just like sort of detached from it, and then we decided it was going to be our last tour and we were going to end.
Do you remember just and I'll move on from this, but I'm just kind of curious as to, do you remember the conversation?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was it in a bus or was it
No, it was in a diner, actually.
Really?
Diner near where we lived. It was we always like used to have band meetings at that diner when we were when we were starting, and we were like, we got to have a meeting, and it was just a fitting place to have that conversation. Where like, I mean, and I don't want to make it seem like, there's any type of hostility anywhere, because now we're all so much better friends.
No. I mean, it's been reported that you guys are fine.
We're way better friends. But at the time, it was like, I wanted to do something differently. I wanted, Joe wanted to do something differently. Jeff he was starting another band. Like, Bill wanted to get out of it. and Serge just wanted to go home and, live normal life and everything. It's just like, and we had that conversation. I remember remember it very clearly, but it's just like, yeah, it got a little bit intense. It got a little bit crazy, but it was like we came away from it being like, you know what, it's not that bad of a thing just because we had fun, we did good,
Right.
and it doesn't necessarily mean that everything stops here for all of us. It means, we just start something differently.
Did you feel guilty about it? Like you were letting the fans down? Was that any part of you? Because like, I just kind of wonder, like, if you left that meeting and then you went home and then you had to get on the early November's MySpace, and you still saw these MySpace comments saying, "You mean everything to me. I can't wait to see you guys when you come through
Right.
Phoenix again." And you're
Right.
just like,
I feel like, I don't want to say guilty. I mean, there's definitely a weird feeling there. It's just like you sort of like, you don't want to let anybody down
right,
type thing. But, it's like, for me, it like the way I balance it is like, I put like, all the years that I was in the early November, like I put everything I had into it. I had invested my life, my soul, my heart into it. And that's cheesy sounding, but like I really did. And, and for all my fans who have stuck by me through it, like I will continue to do that forever. It's like I put that, I like to have like, that's so important to me,
right.
just to invest that much into it and really show like, fans that, that's not going to stop and that's never going to stop. So it's like anybody, I do feel guilty for the people who are like, oh, it's just never going to be the same. And you broke
Right.
my heart. Like there were people who
Really?
were angry about it, but it's like,
Wow.
feel guilty. But at the same time, I'm like, if you can't see, what I'm still trying to make this, to put just as much into it, and doing whatever. So,
Did you ever kind of feel like you weren't being allowed to grow? Like the fan base or like the commitments to, you got commitments to your label, you got commitments to managers, you got commitments to people that are making a living off of the machine that
yeah.
is early November, wasn't early November. And it's like, I kind of like felt like, what do I say to these? I mean, were
Right.
they understanding?
Yeah, everybody was really understanding. I guess everybody saw it coming. So like it was
That helps.
easy. Yeah.
In a way.
Everybody sort of saw it coming and was like, and was, very all right with it and very, was just happy that we were finally getting along as a group, because
Right.
we had years of just of fighting. We had a lot of good times, but we had a lot of bad times, so it's like everybody was really, I think, more relieved just to see that we were, finally all agreeing on something and moving towards it.
Well, last question about early November, and we'll move on from that.
Okay.
But and I'm trying to ask different questions. I know maybe I'm not succeeding in this, but
No, you're doing fabulous.
am I doing?
It's
okay,
amazing.
Oh my God, thank God. I'm putting it on my Facebook. If again now as you're kind of like month after month goes by since that day at the diner, time does a wonderful thing to put things in perspective, as with any relationship or job you had or learning experience. So if you had to kind of just do a 1, 2, 3 of what the past those 12 years or so did, what you learned from those about maybe just life.
Wow. Okay. I learned from life.
Because you toured the world.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Road
mean like
ages you,
what would be
like what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about people? What did you learn about society or business or anything? Like those life lessons, because the road does age you.
Yeah.
I mean,
really.
you're 26, but technically you're 36.
Right.
In your experiences, it's
Right.
you know.
No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I was definitely always the type of, person to try and take in everything and, and learn from it because of, I guess the most stuff that, that I would take from the whole thing is like, I've, that I tried following my heart, and following my gut and instincts, and it's, you learn that it's not always the right thing, but it's like there's like a fine line, because you follow that, it's not always the right thing, but it's always the thing that's going to make you feel best at the end of the day, you know? So it's like,
Right.
for me, is like, man, I don't know. This is a rough one.
Wait till we talk about religion.
I know. Geez, it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be crazy in here.
I'm all about existentialism.
Nice.
But you know what I'm saying? Like there's those things that you kind of, when you're experiencing life, that, you know, like some people would sit there and say, wow, people suck. People by nature suck. Other people sit there and say, generally people are good down
Right.
deep. But you know what I mean? It's like, did you learn anything from...
About people? Yeah, I agree with both of those things right there. It's like
I gave you a cheat sheet. You come up with something else.
I know, but I definitely agree with both of those things. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely the most thing that I learned is just like, you know, just keep believing, you know, and following. Like, I mean, people are rotten and people are generally good, but it's like, I know I'm talking in circles now. It's just like, this question for me is like, you know,
I stumped you.
You like, I'm just like
Then
stuck in a hole right now.
Okay, then let me try to give it. We actually take 2 song breaks, and why don't I make this one a little bit easier for you? Actually, it's probably the harder one. And you've probably been asked this by fanzines, I would imagine, the ones that are left. So for the record, the final record, 2 songs, your 2 favorite songs from early November days.
2 favorite songs. Let's see. I'll definitely have to say a song called Figure It Out. It was on the last record. And that always means a lot to me.
Why's that? Why's that one in particular? Like written at a particular time, or
yeah,
the theme of it? Or...
Yeah, just the whole theme of it for me, like sort of, you know, just summed up the final, you know, steps. Like I could sort of see, you know, what was happening, I guess, and sort of summed it up for me, you know, as far as everything that was going on. And I guess if I had to pick another favorite song, I'll pick one that's not such a droner. Let's see.
Welcome to depression talk.
Let's see. What else would I choose out of that whole thing? I was, you know, a fan of our song. Which one? Let's say I'm gonna go with another song called "No Good at Saying Sorry." It was also off the last record. Like those were probably my 2 favorites that I had made with the band.
1 million different people.
Yes, 1 million different people.
1 million different people. Where did that name come from?
It's I thought of it when I was listening to Bittersweet Symphony, the Verve, you know,
right?
And you know, it says I'm 1 million different people from one day to the next type thing. And it's just like I felt like, you know, at the time, like, I don't know, sort of just, you know, I was sitting there being all like, for lack of a better word, emo, you know, and being like,
it's going back to the depression talk.
Yeah.
We're not going to get out of this.
That's just
I should be putting Joy Division music behind all this.
You know, sitting there and just being like, man, you know, that makes sense. You know, it's like, just makes sense for me. And that's where I got the name. And then sort of like right after that, I'm like, you know what I want to do? We had this idea actually right after we came up with the name to do this song. We're actually covering Bittersweet Symphony and got like a ton of people from a ton of bands to like sing on it as well. Like Kenny sings on it, and you know, Bryce from the Rocket Summer, Aaron from Copeland, like a ton of people sang on it, and it's came out really cool and awesome.
So what is this? What is this? This phase of your life, this act, that act. Oh God, it makes it sound like it's a cat routine. This weekend at Vegas, it's Ace Enders and his cat.
I wish.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Make a lot of money.
That would be the way to make money. That's what I should do. Get a cat. And
By the time you guys get to where you playing tomorrow night,
Detroit.
you have a whole cat act figured out.
Might as well.
3.5 hour trip. You could do it.
I think so.
Yeah, but what is this? What's this allowing you to do now creatively that you couldn't do before? Like what's coming out of you now that is just like now has this outlet?
I think more than anything is just like the mind frame is just like I was able to take a step out of it, take a step out of the business, take a step out of everything for a little bit.
Wow.
Refresh and like be like, okay, this is my goal. Like remember what my goal is. Like I always said since I was a kid, it's super cheesy, but like I always said like I wanted to help people. I wanted to, you know, change the world. Like I honestly said that. And like, you know, that was always my goal, but I know that's like not a goal to have, but like what I want, like, you know, obviously is to be able to, on one hand, you know, make a living from doing this and, you know,
Right.
be successful. On the other hand, like probably the most important thing of every night is if somebody comes up and says like, you know, you helped me get through something. And it's like, that's, I mean, the motivation for this is like, you know, it's just, now it's like, I know what I want. I know what I'm going for. And like, it's just, I guess, easier because, you know, I don't have to worry about letting anyone else down, you know? Like I always felt
Okay,
like with a
yeah.
band, like if I didn't make something a certain way or do something the right way, like I would let 4 other people down, you know? And it's like, this way is like, you know, I could sort of, you know, just do freely, you know, whatever.
But
You know,
but we're gonna end up talking about that band again. But I mean, with then you kind of had a democracy though. So even if you had an idea, it was still kind of debated and discussed and modified
yeah,
in a way.
in a way.
So
yeah.
now you're just is it really just your opinion, just your viewpoint, and
Well, me and you know, me and my wife definitely. Like
right.
it's a very like she pretty much handles all the work, you know. Like
Right,
she's
right.
like, you know, I definitely wouldn't be able to do it without her, you know. And
I'm
it's
just
like
thinking like creatively though.
creatively,
Yeah,
like
creatively.
I would say like yeah, just basically going with it. Like I did like a record last winter, you know, and I had like a bunch of studio musicians play on it. And it was like I didn't necessarily want to do the record like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, at the time, like it was like, you know, everybody sort of was like, this is how you have to do it. We're gonna take it to the next level and whatnot. And you know, I made the songs I wanted to make, but at the end of the day, I guess everybody wasn't, you know, creatively or whatever came out of it wasn't exactly what it needed to be. So it's like you know, now it's like I'm going to record another record after this tour to replace it, you know. And
Wow. Okay. Right.
yeah,
Those are the 7 songs or so that were on the Fuse thing.
no,
Oh, no, that's
that was a completely different thing.
Okay.
Because then I found out the original record I recorded wasn't going to be coming out. So then I recorded another thing, like did it by myself in my studio, and you know, yeah, put that one out for free. And now it's like time we're like, well, we're gonna record another record
Okay.
because you know, and going up to record it and living in my van to do it, and you know, we're figuring out a way to pay for it and whatnot, and just roughing it, and you know, it's weird because I know it sounds like a little bit weird, you know, but I mean, this for me is like I know like I'm letting myself put everything into this. Like I'm letting myself
Right.
like go up and put a lot of things on the line right now to make this work. And it's
Is it scary though? I think that was what I was going to ask before. Was that kind of now it's just you
yeah,
and it's not the band.
right.
So now is it
It's
like
very
is it kind of
different.
hesitations for you? Like, am I doing it the right way? Because you don't have like what you
Right.
had before, or is it just like you're just so liberated that you're just like it's like being in a playpen right now. You're just throwing stuff all over the place.
No, I mean, I definitely get a little bit like, you know, nervous of some things. You know, it is different not having everybody like, you know, being able to fall back on that, like, you know, but because now I know like whatever happens wrong is all on me. You know, whatever
Right.
bad decisions are made are all on me. So it's like, yeah, you know, it's definitely a little bit scary. It's like, you know, just knowing that, you know, I have to do what you have to do. You know, it's like, and having confidence that you're gonna, you know, no matter what you do, like as long as it's coming from my heart. That's how I look at it now. As long as it's coming from my heart and I really mean it and I really mean what I'm doing, like I'm doing the right thing, you know? So I try and use that as my whatever.
You know, when you were starting out, when you it was good. You did good. When you were starting out playing music, there were certain bands that inspired you at the time, and now it's interesting because it kind of like when musicians get to their second band and they're in their mid-20s or so, it's almost like they're their college years where they start discovering all different types of music that they weren't listening to before.
Right.
So it's like you're talking about the Verve and things like that. Like what other bands or maybe styles of music have you been getting into over the past couple of years that has been kind of influencing what you're putting out now and what you're planning to do in the future?
I've definitely been listening to like a lot of like, you know, well, I've always loved the Verve and whatnot, but bands like, you know, I'm a huge like Coldplay's last record. Like I really like love that. Like Ryan Adams,
single.
like yeah.
What a catchy single.
It's they're, you know, it's really great. I really am, you know, always been into like, you know, Muse and stuff like that. And, you know, I pretty much have listened to the same stuff since I started. Like Pearl Jam, my favorite band ever. Gotta listen to that every day. But I mean, like,
which record's like your favorite?
I'd say for me is like Yield, because that's my record that made me want to do what I'm doing.
Really?
So, you know, that's I'm as far as music, and like I usually, for some reason, like I never get into like, if I get into something new, it'll be like 2 years after everybody else got into it.
Oh, right.
You know?
Right.
Like that type of thing.
Is it because like you're just like you're rejecting it because it got big, or is it because it's
I'm just slow.
I'm
just slow. Simple as that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I always just I listen to the same things I've been listening to, you know, and just very in that groove, I guess, you know. Always been a huge Death Cab fan and huge, you know.
You like the new record?
Yeah, I do. I definitely, you know, I love their old stuff. Like, you know, it has a special place in my heart, but I do love the new record as well. I think it's great.
How is it when you're sitting up on the stage and you're doing your new material, and what's the audience looking like to you? I mean, does it look like they're going, all right, I'm going to give him a chance? Like I'm gonna open my mind, and like he's not doing, you know, he's not doing what he was doing. He's doing something. So I'm giving you that break, or, you know. So are they open minded, or they seem to be somewhat skeptical? Do you think that there's like certain kind of pockets of the audience that are responding to you in a particular way?
I think that,
or is it kind of like all just love? You know,
yeah, I mean, it's a weird one. It's weird to say, because all the tours that we've been doing, like the fans that come out that know me have all been really open and receptive to everything.
That's great.
But most of the crowd, like on all the tours we've been doing, like have no idea who I am at all.
Really?
So it's like, yeah, they have like just absolutely no idea. Like this tour is like, the tour we're on now, like is great. Like the kids are great. It's a very young crowd, and it's like most of them didn't grow up with me because, you know, they're growing up with everything now. So it's like, you know, they don't know, and, you know, they're very open to it and very, you know, get a great response every night. But it's like most of the fans that do come out to the shows, like if they come out, like they're very open to it, you know, and it's been great. Like I can't even, like all the great feedback that I've gotten from the past Early November fans and I Can Make a Mess fans, like has been great. Like I'm very thankful.
Your
for
flyers and your the stuff that you put out, the creative pieces, the artwork that you and your wife put together, that are for publication purposes, for newspaper ads and web banners and things like that. Was there a conscious decision whether to discuss, like, do we put down From the Early November? Because like I noticed, like when Cinematic Sunrise were doing some of their dates, some of the promoters were like, the kids don't know who Cinematic Sunrise, so they had to start adding with Craig Owens from Chiodos.
Right.
And so, like, that's something you guys had to discuss, and what was like kind of your ultimate decision on that?
If it's strongly like if a promoter or like whoever is doing the ad really wants it in there, like we'll put of the early November in there. But
Okay.
most of the time we'll just leave it. Figure like
So you don't have like a set rule saying you cannot do it or you can,
right,
or
yeah.
please do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean if I'm not going to be weird about it because it is my past and
Right.
it'll always be a part of me. But at the same time I do want to gain like fans who would not sort of look at that and be like, oh,
Right.
I'm not going to listen to it or it's not going to be the same or whatever. Like it's really weird because a lot of people, because we put it as, on this whole tour as just A centers. It doesn't say the early November anywhere. And, kids will come up and be like, I was a fan of the early November. I had no idea that you were on this show or who you were or anything like that.
It's
and
amazing.
It's like, re-winning over that fan, feels much better than them just being like, oh, I was, I'm just coming, but it's not the same, it'll always, so it's like,
Does it kind of teach you a lesson though, a little bit about how you maybe need to, I don't know if it's necessarily marketing or some of that. Because I would sit there, if I was in that position, I'd be sitting there going, okay, either I didn't stand out enough,
right.
And I was wallpaper in the band,
Yeah.
or.
Right. Well, no, I would definitely love to be able to marketing, but like my hands are sort of tied with it. Like I don't have the control or anything to make any of that happen. So like I want them all to know who I am, and I want all my old early November fans to realize that this is me and not get surprised when they come to a show. But it's like there's only so much I can do with my space.
Right.
And
or you could do like some of those guys do, and they like come back like 5 years from now and say the early November reformed. It's only you.
Yeah.
And that's where the lawsuits start flying.
Yeah.
It's like the bass player comes back. And like, yeah, Misfits are back together. It's only the bass player. Thanks. I did you when you guys were sitting down with the T-shirts and your merch and things like that. Did you was there like a conscious decision to kind of to hit the refresh button? Like, did you purposely say we can't do that because it looks like what we did before?
Yeah, I mean, well, not really a conscious decision to do. It's like we pretty much if it's in the same vein, it's in the same. It's like really didn't pay much attention to that stuff. It's just like do what we do. That's it. Just go with it. So
how and how do you like how much time do you spend at the merch booth for yourself?
I like to be there, like like after we play, like the in between, like when like into like a few songs into a cute set, so from after we play to like probably like 10 15 minutes 20 minutes or before the show, whenever. But I've usually before the show, since like I was saying, like a lot of people don't really know who I am. They're just like I'm the oldest guy in the building at the point. Yeah. So like the people just like walk by like, who's that? Kind of looks like Michael Cera, but that's all I got. Yeah.
How many malls have you been stopped in, by the way?
I don't even want to talk about it.
Why? Because you're gonna egg it on? Really? Okay.
How many malls has for looking like Michael Cera?
Yeah.
All the time.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Really?
People think that I look like him a lot at shows.
Well, I mean, I can see the connection, right, but
yeah.
I just didn't.
Yeah. I mean, it happens once in a while, and it's funny. Like I get a kick out of it. We'll be like going into like a restaurant or something, and like you'll hear like a group of people as we walk by, be like, "Oh my God, that's Mike! This is a kid from Superbad." Like whisper it real low, and I'll be like, "Oh man."
You ever sign some autographs? His name and stuff. Do you go beyond that? Do the MySpace pictures and the whole thing like that?
I should.
There's another way to make some money.
There you go. That'll do it.
Impersonating celebrities. That's great. That's really, really good. So what exactly is what's on your plans for 2009 at this point? Do you have any sort of? I mean, obviously you want to put out the next record.
Yeah.
But is there anything else like beyond that? I mean, kind of like are you thinking about other not music projects necessarily, but other things that you want to do, or things like things with your life, or I don't know if you've been wanting to build a log cabin. I don't know.
I would love to build a log cabin. That would be great. That would be awesome. I would. I think coming up, like I definitely want to put the record out, see how it goes. I definitely want to, since I am getting up there, I'm the senior citizen of this tour. and probably the next one as well. So like, I'm gonna want to like,
This is really bothering you about the age thing, isn't it?
No, it's not. I'm very bitter about it, but I'm all right. No, not really. It's just it's my fallback. I'm looking forward to having a record come out, seeing how things are gonna go. Um, definitely looking forward to like eventually like starting having like a family and all that stuff, and
Right.
being like a all-American man. So like that's I mean.
Gonna do the Willie Nelson thing and have the whole family on the road all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. No, I mean, definitely like right now, just taking it one step at a time. Like it seems like every day something else changes or there's a huge shift in the whole plan. So it's like right now I just want to go focus on recording this record, making it everything it can be. I'm going to have some time to think. I'll be, like I said, camping outside of my van because I can't afford a hotel. And, making up some hot dogs every night, making some s'mores. And, put the record out, tour a little bit, have a family. And, hopefully by that time, I'm in, doing all right.
Where do you go camping? Is there a particular place of the country you hang out in particular? Or?
No. I'm just going to be camping, I guess, in a parking lot or wherever I can find.
Camp Walmart. It's very popular.
Camp, whatever. I'm just going to be wherever will have me. So I would love to go camping at, the Grand Canyon or something. That would be great. But that's,
I know the parks have increased their fees lately.
Too much fun.
They have too much fun.
Yeah.
Deny yourself. Well,
yeah.
You do have to suffer for your art in order to create good art. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't let myself have too much enjoyment. Definitely.
If you want to have real fun, just start like camping in the parking lot of a local police station, and you'll have some wild experiences after that. After about the second day.
I think so. That would be. Maybe I will. I'll try that out.
So, why don't we play? Take another our second song break, and why don't you give me two songs that you would want? Let's say that fan of yours that hasn't seen you yet and hasn't heard the new stuff yet, and you're like, these are the two songs I want you to hear that I'm doing now.
Okay,
what
cool.
Those two songs would be.
I'm gonna say play "Reaction."
Okay.
Off of the free thing, and "Rain."
And why those two in particular? Should they be listening to certain things or?
Well, I mean, it's yeah, like it's just continuing, I guess, my journey of where I am now. I guess, like, of what's going on. Like, if you listen to it, you'll hear little subtle things of like, of where we are and why we are here. So like, I would definitely say those two songs are good ones to catch up on.
I'm just waiting for you to get fired up. I'll know probably when you start cursing or something.
I actually have a terrible problem. It's been since my whole entire life. I have no idea why. It's some weird mental thing. I can't curse at all. Like, it's like a block. Like, I feel like I'm going to vomit if I do. Because, I have tried, but I feel like I'm going to throw up. I get dizzy. Like, it's really like a weird psychological thing.
That's really interesting.
I can't get around it. And I've tried, but I can't.
Did friends of yours in high school like call you certain names because, like, not goody two shoes, but like, Mr. You know what I mean? It's like, because
yeah, I mean, I've always had a group of friends when they realize it, they start to pick on it a little bit. But it's like, it's whatever.
They try and taunt it out of you.
Yeah, it's just it is what it is. It's who I am, and it's got to be for a reason. That's the way I look at it. I have no idea why, but it's got to be for a reason.
You can make a lot of mothers very happy with you if you just promoted that really well.
Yeah.
Curse-free shows. Could be. You never know,
Yeah.
So let's you started off this whole conversation with kind of an allusion to it about the music industry and where everything is going and things and the hell and the crazy and so forth. And like, if you could from your musician friends, you're talking about the Verve song and you had all your friends on, but when you guys mics are off and you're out and you're having some dinner and maybe you're hanging out or something like that, if you could get a temperature or a mood for all of your friends in the music industry, what would you describe that mood as right now? Taking all the managers, the record companies, everybody out of it, just the musicians, just your friends in bands.
I guess, I mean, it's always different, and I would say, like, for me personally, like, which may be different from everybody because I can only, like, for me, it's just like the mood is just like, come on already, like, let's, it's just like, that's my mood, it's like, I mean, I know, like, it's frustrating for a lot of us because, like, so many people have, like, put so much time and, like, went through the ropes, and I, like, went through times of, like, where you're in the band and you sleep on people's floors, you, like, like, doing all that stuff, and you really, like, feel like you pay your dues and you get somewhere, and then all of a sudden, like, everything gets, pulled out, and, like, all these labels now, everybody's doing a deal, like a 360 deal or something, where they, like, take everything, and it's like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, it's like everybody's confused, but nobody ever wants to admit to being confused. And nobody, like, ever wants to admit to making any mistakes. It's always like, for me, I always feel like it's always, it's just like, no one will accept responsibility for why things are where they are. And that's my mood, is like no one will. And it's just, what are we going to do next? What's the next, how's this going to get fixed, but nobody will accept any responsibility that they had any part to why the business is where it is right now, and why we are all struggling, and it's getting harder to make money. It's getting harder to survive and make a living doing this, like, I've been doing this for years now, and it's it just, it's getting harder and harder. Kids, there's more kids, than ever.
Right.
There's more, like, younger kids. It's more, this music is more mainstream now than I think even some of the mainstream music. And it's like, things are, really growing like that. But for the bands that aren't, like, the, in success and then out the next day, like, you're not in that, you're not, it's hard to make a living. It's really difficult. And it's like, being one of those bands in that clump is like, and watching everybody around being like, oh, I'm blaming everything on everybody else, and how stupid fans are, and how stupid, downloading is, and how stupid, like, like, all the labels out there, everybody contributed to making that so easy for people. It's like, put out, like, no artist would ever want to realize or want to say. And I'll say this, like, because I do have a little bit of hostility towards the whole, artist aspect of it, but, like, no artist will ever say, like, it's partly my fault because I decided to make a hit song on this record, or a song that everybody would jump and dance around to, and then, I let's say, took a little bruise in my integrity or whatever, and, made a song that wasn't what I wanted to do, but it got kids to notice me, but the rest of the record they didn't care about. So they only bought that song. And nobody's ever going to own up to being like...
So we trained them to be single culture.
Right. And that's, like, part of the reason why, like, it's everybody's fault. It's the musician's fault. It's like, it's crazy. Nobody will ever take the blame for it, though. That's the...
I sometimes wonder if, like, if what's happening is this collapse of the money aspect of the money generating aspect of the music industry is causing the greed.
Yeah.
The people that are in it for greed.
Definitely.
To be weeded out. And so what's ended up happening is now you're just going to end up having the people, the DIY people, the innovator
really
people.
That hope that happens. I really hope that that's how it goes, and that, like, that would be my yes, we win. But, like, what it looks like is happening is the people that are greedy most of the time are the people that have a little bit more power and are like, we're going to find out ways to make sure we stay afloat right now, and it's like, they'll do whatever they can to stay up there. And the people who are, like, the artistic people who are, like, trying to push forward artistically are going to be like, I'm going to do whatever I can to just make art better, or do what I can to, to keep going. Like, I will have made 4 records this year, 4 records of all new stuff and all new everything. And, like, I'm doing whatever I can right now to stay afloat, and not stay afloat, like, like financially is a big thing, but like stay afloat just like artistically, stay afloat passionately, like keep this going. Like
Without getting jaded or bitter or
right,
something.
like and I'm like, and there's a lot of people like me right now that are just doing what they do because it's and getting taken advantage of. And I'm not saying like, it's like I'm going into the studio, and this is no disrespect to anyone in the world, but I'm going into the studio next month, and me and my manager are paying for it. Like I'm going to be sleeping in a van. Like I'm going to be like for a whole month. And it's like, I've been doing this for 8 years now. I've sold 500,000 records. Like, why do I have to do that? But why am I going to do it? Because like, I'm going to make sure my art is the best it can possibly be. And when it comes out, that it's all it can be, and it's like, there's always going to be people who are like, that's on the other side or whoever really, it's like, I don't know, man. I'm at that point where I'm about to get frustrated. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like I would love to see the greedy people, like you're saying, get weeded out, and the true people who really believe in this and believe that this is here not just for a money making thing, but here to help change, to help people, and to be art and to be something beautiful. Like I hope that they win. I hope that happens. I really do.
I kind of wonder though sometimes, like when the system is so corrupted or concocted and rigged, I guess, in a way to benefit a certain type of power structure or business plan or shareholder or whatever the deal is, that really the opportunities now become, especially because there's so much that from a software and a hardware and method that's ending up in the hands of just your general citizens, i.e. musicians, right? That now the musicians are allowing to be more in control of things, that they were reliant upon that system before. So maybe I sometimes wonder, and when I talk to musicians, I debate with them about whether we just haven't reached that we haven't taken the ball far enough down the field yet.
Right.
We're not there yet, but we're running.
Right.
We're going down there, and somebody among all of us that are not part of that huge thing, because I'm definitely not. But if one of us is going to figure out a application, a website, a something that is going to be the next, I guess what Napster did to the industry, which gave the power back to the consumer,
right.
took it away from the 17, 1899 CD, but it's going to allow musicians such as yourself to figure out, how do I be self-sufficient and make enough money so that I can have a family.
Right. Right.
But we're just not there yet.
Right.
And we're in that suffering period right now because everybody's trying to figure out, okay.
I think you're gonna, I'm sorry for
go
jumping
for it.
in, but I think you're gonna find a whole new, like in order for that to happen, there's gonna be a whole new group of bands, artists, music, like, like where we are now, like with all of us, like I know, like, like I'm, like there would be, for, I guess, most musicians in my position, like I'm under certain rules contractually that I would not be able to, like, find that other way unless, my label was, cool with it or making that other way happen. So it's like, there's a lot of, like, for unsigned bands now and bands coming up, like, that are getting huge MySpace plays, whatever, whatever makes a band, special now. Like,
it's still talent.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Probably more so than before, because before they just paid somebody off and they became big. Now they don't. I mean, well, no, seriously, because of payola and all that stuff like that.
Right. Now there's just so much more.
There's just so much. So really, it does kind of come down to
weed out
talent.
to the special ones, right? And I think that there's gonna be like a whole new uprising of, like, just new music.
You're seeing. I mean, we saw what Radiohead did.
Right.
Even though they kind of stayed with Capitol, but you saw what they did on their own. And then you see Nine Inch Nails doing it on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And releasing stuff all the time and, you know, and now we have that new system where you as an artist finish it on Friday night in the studio and you released it by Sunday night.
Right.
There's not even that lag time with, you know, well, we got to roll it out, we got to let everybody know and do the press campaign. No, it's just you put it out, it's done. So, and you're seeing bands like, look what Les and Jake did, made their own label, just did a distribution deal.
Right.
So you're seeing, and we're just now starting to see these bands kind of where their contracts are up with these labels, and they're going, all right, let me see. I sold 40,000 records, and I got a $50,000, $80,000 advance. But I sold 40,000 records. I haven't seen another dime since then.
Right.
Doing the label route. And I'm getting pressured to do a 360 deal now. If I sold 40,000 records through that route, if I sold 40,000 records at my merch booth for $10 a pop.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Right. So
That's
what's,
a lot of money.
you know, and then what if you sold 10,000 records, but you made enough money so that you paid all your bills for the year and you recouped your costs versus selling 40,000 records on a label and being indebted forever? What's the benefit? So now it's not about I sold 40,000. It's like, I'm happy with 10,000. I don't have to impress anybody anymore.
Right. You don't have to impress. That's just being comfortable. You know, it's just, yeah. That's a beautiful. No, it's, you know, for people who are like, you know, anybody who's cool with that, like that's great. Like, you know, that would be, yeah.
Is that kind of, would you be happy with that scenario though?
I would love.
If you only sold 10,000 things of everything that you did, but you made enough money so that you got a house, your
Well,
family's happy.
you don't have the pressure of like,
Right.
oh, you have to make this, so like,
Right.
zillions of people are gonna love it.
Would it bum you out like you're not on radio, but yet you made enough money to have a nice living?
I don't think it would necessarily bum me out because, you know, I would be comfortable. I would be able to, like, I would always want to reach as many people as possible.
Mhm.
But I mean, if I only had like the hardcore fans, like 10,000 that were going to buy the CD and they were going to really be into it and really love it and get it, and I wouldn't have to change what I want to do, like,
Mhm.
then of course, you know, you'd definitely be happy with that. That would be great.
Are you kind of I was thinking about your AP op-ed while you were just speaking that, and are you kind of a traditionalist in a way? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, are you married to the idea of a hard case CD?
I do love it. I love having the hard, you know, the copy of it. It's just, yeah, I guess I kind of am, but I mean, I do understand the benefit and what you need, you know, why you need the digital, like, you know, and how much easier it is and how much cheaper it is. And
Because isn't that what Kenny did? He did primarily
the
digital.
digital.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously your profit's going to be so much more and it's going to be so much easier for people to get it. You know, they don't have to come to shows or go to a store to find it or whatever. But it's like, you know, it's like distro is like, you don't need to worry about like, you know, shipping so many units or whatever. It's like, but I do love the idea of just having it, just because like for me, like getting into music, it's just like when I was like, you know, that was like such a special thing, like, you know, going to get a CD and just like the respect you have for it, you know, like you look at it and you're like, oh my God, like, you know, it means like you're a band, you know, you're doing something like that's, you know, and now that's sort of, I guess, fading, but you know,
Right.
I guess you could say I am. I do love just having it.
So last question, and being a music fan, I kind of wondered if when you kind of go into different cities and if you get the time, do you kind of search out the record stores that are left at all?
Yeah, if we definitely get if we get a chance, we have time, I definitely love to go in any little record store and just, you know, check it out and, you know, sort of see how they're doing and, you know, what's going on.
Right.
You know, it seems like actually like records are like getting big again, you know, like vinyl.
Yeah. Which
is-
got to make you happy.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. So it's like, you know, I definitely love seeing how all that's working. You know, it's very interesting to me how it's like things are like fading out, but now people are like collecting it again, you know, and it's like, it's different. It's, you know, I definitely love going around and just checking it out, seeing how it's
Well, the
all
question I
working.
was ultimately going to ask here is there a particular city in this country that you've traveled through that you would probably put at the top of, like, besides the one you live in now, but
Right.
is there that city that you just like the general vibe of the city? Everything about it just Just as like, and so maybe other bands, other musicians, as they maybe start their first tour or something like that, and they'll go, you know what? I remember Ace talking about this city. There's something about this city that's just beautiful.
Right. I mean, for like people being awesome at shows type thing, like, you know, there's always like, since the first time I was there, like Salt Lake City, like has always
Really?
been like going there has just been like everybody's just so like supportive about their music and so supportive about the music scene is like, I mean, it's like it's pretty impressive. Like out of all the cities that, you know, we usually play, it's like they're, you know, at least all the people that I run into at shows and like, you know, whatever, like it's really, really just like supportive, really into everything and just want to like, if they see you once, they're definitely coming the next time and they're definitely going to buy the record and they're definitely going to tell their friends and they're definitely going to, you know, support their like music scene. It's very strong, very good.
So
there.
Salt Lake.
I love Salt Lake. Yeah, it's great.
Would that be the one you were retiring?
Retiring?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I have to say, like as far as music wise or
No, just living wise.
living wise, I love the mountains. I do.
So close.
Any mountainous, like, you know,
Boulder.
like, you know, love it. Love it. So yeah, I would love to, you know, have a chill, relaxing.
Studio up in the mountains.
That would be so awesome.
I'm just giving you all these ideas.
I
I'm gonna check
definitely
in with you in 10 years.
definitely have thought about it. I'll give you a royalty on every idea that I stole from you.
Just so you know, oral agreements are contract binding. These are legally binding here, so we're set. I would seriously. I mean, I know it's frustrating, but you just, as I said when I started out, you just seem happier, and people around you seem to be saying it, and I wish you completely the best of luck with this.
I really
It's just a
appreciate
matter,
it.
I think it's
Thank
just
you.
hanging on, you know, and
Yeah. I'm definitely psyched about it, and you know, I'm really happy, like with everybody, you know, just I don't know. It's been such a sort of like rough transition at the same time, but, you know,
Right.
as such a amazingly positive transition. So it's like, you know, it's definitely weighed out on both hands, but it's, you know, my spirits are much higher now that I like, you know, I feel like I'm on a mission, you know, like I'm doing the right thing. I think a big thing for me is like, I'm not like, I know that I'm doing this and I'm in it and all my decisions are based on the right thing, you know, doing the right thing. And it's like, I feel like, you know, now I'm just like, all the decisions are like, you know, not what's going to get us here, like, you know, but you're doing the right thing, you know, you're being like, you know, what would you say? Like a stand-up musician? I don't know. A stand-up
role model. It's a role
like
model.
just trying to do the right things and making the right decisions, you know, to you know, and then that's where I'm at, and that's very, you know, I guess making me happy, very happy. And you know, now like doing it like this, like starting over and having, you know, my family and like wife be such a big part of it, it's like, you know, so much easier to live, you know, without having to be away from somebody all the time.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's so much easier to live having, you know, having it right there and, you know, sharing everything and, you know, the support that comes from her. And it's just like, you know, it's great. That's why I'm happy. You know, I don't have to, you know, that part of my life is like amazing. So it's like all the silly bad stuff that happens in the music business, like just, I guess that's what gives me my strength to like, just be like, you know, I could live in a van. It's all right. You know, I could take another hit. It'll be all right because that part of my life is, you know, wonderful. So it's like that combined with, you know, ultimately doing everything for the, you know, the right calls, feeling like, you know, then we're just happy, very happy.
There's nothing that says love more than not being able to take a shower for 3 days and having your loved one not be able to take one as well.
That's great. We try and shower as much as possible. But
no, you're supposed to say we can't, because in that way you can get that sponsorship for Axe.
You're right.
You know, so you've got to think. It's new, different times. Times change now.
Oh God,
it's all about marketing.
It is. Jeez.
Thank you again for coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate it and had a wonderful time. And yeah, awesome. Glad to be here. Look forward to doing it again.
AP podcasts are recorded at Lava Room Recording Studio in Cleveland, Ohio, a New York City quality studio at Cleveland prices. Check out www.lavaroomrecording.com. For more information on Alternative Press Magazine, go to www.altpress.com. The podcast engineer is John Walsh. Post-production assistance from Rob Hortensi. I'm Mike Shea, and this is all my fault. You can reach me directly at www.myspace.com/MikeSheaAP. That's SHEA like the stadium, AP.